Hi, welcome to Taste This TV. I'm Chef Joseph. Now, great show for you here today. Breakfast in bed. Well, you can have it in a variety of different ways. I'm having mine here at the Allegria Hotel, 25 miles away from New York City, yet worlds away. We're going to step inside and see how this hotel has got some unbelievable amenities and check out their style of breakfast in bed. Taste this. Well, I spent an incredible weekend here at the hotel, got some rays, walked around on the boardwalk a little bit. Now I'm hungry. I'm going to go downstairs and visit Chef Todd as he whips up his own spectacular recipes regarding breakfast. Taste this. So when I'm thinking great breakfast, of course I'm turning to my good friend here, Chef Todd, who's whipping up the best breakfast in bed at the Allegria Hotel. Chef, how are you again?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. So I understand you got a really good twist on breakfast in bed and wanted to just consult with you a little bit because people are always looking for different ways of taking their breakfast to the next level, right? I mean, it's pancakes, it's eggs, it's toast, but you've got some interesting ingredients here that I think could really take it to the next level. What do we got going on?
Well, the first dish we're going to make is a challah French toast. Where I take organic challah bread,
right?
A very thick slice, and I have a little special appareil that I put it in. With, it's got a little bit of orange juice, a little bit of brandy, your eggs, your cream. Excellent. And then we coat it in cornflakes. And we cook it in clarified butter on the stove to get a really crispy outside and light and delicious, moist.
So you
inside.
actually really take the whole challah bread?
I do.
That's interesting. I bet you a lot of people didn't know that. Yep. As opposed to like this regular sliced white bread.
Yeah, we use this organic challah bread, and we cut a nice thick slice, as you'll see.
All right, so now the first step is to take the bread here and actually put it in the oil, right, Chef?
That's correct.
Now these regular cornflakes or?
These are regular cornflakes.
Look out. And what's an indication that it's done throughout the whole piece of toast?
It takes a couple of minutes. Really, we want to brown it. This we don't do it incredibly high heat.
So really gives a nice crispiness with the actual. So can people substitute that? Maybe put like bran flakes or something like that if you wanted to?
Sure, absolutely. When I present this, I cut it in half.
Very nice.
So it fits on the plate.
Good buffet item here, or would you say this is a la carte plate?
This is more of an a la carte plate.
Any special take on the syrup?
I use certified organic syrup from New York State.
Or you can actually use maple syrup USA. Go visit my friends up in Canada. This looks great. I mean, I would have never thought. So you have challah bread, your own special ingredient of your mixture, and then the flakes, which you really take it to the next level. Well, here you have it. This next dish is really incredible. You're actually using hanger steak and incorporating with some eggs, correct?
Yes.
What's your take on that?
Well,
steak and eggs?
It's a variation of steak and eggs. I serve 2 poached eggs on sliced hanger steak, and I put a red chili hollandaise. I use chipotle pepper puree and incorporate that into the hollandaise for really spicy, great take. It's one of my favorite breakfast dishes. Great hangover dish.
I'm looking forward to checking it out. Anything that beats the night out, so to speak. So what are you going to do to get started on this one?
Okay, well, I've seared off the hanger steak.
Right.
And I'm going to...
Any preference between white egg and brown egg you like?
Again, I use certified organic eggs.
Right.
Which happen to be brown.
Well, that movement is becoming increasingly popular these days, and I'm glad everybody's starting to wake up to it, you know?
Absolutely.
So we have the steak, and then you have to put the eggs in there as well.
Yep.
Any acid in there?
I put a little bit of vinegar in the water.
A little vinegar.
Yeah. Yep.
Some people use lemon juice, right?
Yeah, it helps the egg congeal and keep the whites tight. And we're ready to plate it.
Got a little home fries that you made there too?
Little home fries.
And this is this brioche toast here? Or?
That's our challah bread again.
Now what's that's looking like it's cutting like butter. What's your secret with that?
This is Cedar River Farms hanger steak. It's an all-natural, antibiotic and hormone-free raised cattle, and it happens to be incredibly tender.
Well, Chef, 2 unbelievable dishes. I'm going to go back to my room, put on the bathrobe, and wait for this wonderful food to arrive. Taste this. Wow. Okay, so now you're getting down to the nitty-gritty with breakfast here. A couple of important components to this dish. Always a cold, fresh squeezed orange juice, some coffee, which I probably hardly ever touch, and then you have the salt, the pepper, the maple syrup, etc. Great breakfast items here with a twist, and that's how I'm actually naming this food here at the hotel. You have the eggs Benedict with a twist on it. Instead of the classic Canadian bacon or just bacon, now you have hanger steak. Walking right over here to the French toast, you see these unbelievable cereal crusted. Let me let that's Alan in. Mr. Rosenberg, how are you? Come on in. Well, Mr. Rosenberg, unbelievable hotel from top to bottom.
Thank you
really,
very much.
I am impressed.
I hope you enjoyed your stay with us.
I definitely have.
Hope you come back.
Everything in this hotel is top notch, and you
Great.
picked the right staff
Great.
to work here because they are attentive, to say the least.
Great.
So thank you for
Thank you very
having
much.
me here.
Yep.
And we'll make some reservations for next weekend. Just leave that favorite room open, available for
I
me.
sure will.
I'm going to head back over to the test kitchen and whip up some favorite recipes of mine. So don't go anywhere. Taste this. Hi, welcome to Taste This TV. I'm Chef Joe Simonero. Great show for you here today, but I want to speak to you a little bit about the products that we're going to be using today, starting with, of course, Blue Bunny. There is no ice cream like Blue Bunny. Blue Bunny's got some great flavors, always coming out with some new and innovative products. One of my favorite that just came out, the Champ Hot Fudge Brownie Sundae. Check it out. It's got pieces of brownie inside the ice cream cone. You're going to love it. Moving over here to Monini olive oil. The only olive oil I use, strictly right off the press, first cold pressed olive oil. They have a variety of different flavors as well, which they have infused porcini, truffle, etc. And we can't forget about our Antonio Amato pasta. Whenever you're using pasta, make sure it's Antonio Amato. Moving over here to Conti's wheat-free, gluten-free pizza. Remember, when you want to feed your child the utmost in healthy food products, make sure it's Conti's. Moving back over to the S&W beans, my premier choice when it comes to making bean salad, hummuses, etc. Use S&W beans. We can't forget about the wonderful products of Fungus Among Us, Wolf Creek Honey, and of course our Dakota beef, which is organic, which we'll be using for the whole season. So take a look at these products, purchase them whenever you can, and don't forget, taste this. All right, so we're ready to get started. I want to wish everyone a good morning and hope you had a great night's sleep. But this is the breakfast show, and on the breakfast show, we cook breakfast. That's right. So we got a couple of things going on here. Now, I thought just doing the old Italian frittata would bring me back to the Brooklyn roots. Running over here to our steak, because you always have breakfast steak. And then coming over here to a southwestern omelet, which is becoming very popular, actually. If you head over to Texas or the West Coast, you'll see these omelets popping up all over the place. To get started, we're going to first start with our steak. Now, I have a flank steak here. Now, take the smaller one. Take this one. Now, the flank steak is really what you should use for a breakfast sauce. The skirt is good. The skirt's got more fat. So if you want to, sort of have that breakfast, steak, it's definitely going to be a flank. So we're going to start off with our salt. We're going to do salt to both sides, but we're not going to do the herbs to both sides. We're going to take the flank again. And we got a little cracked black pepper going on over here. That technique I show you on other shows, I kind of press the cracked black pepper in there. Just kind of get in there with it. All right, now, we're going to take a little bit of scallions. We're going to take some scallions, rub it into the meat. release the oils from the scallions all up in the meat. Like, I mean, don't be afraid to massage the beef and get all that stuff in there. Now we got a little cilantro and a little bit of garlic. Now the garlic I got is roasted already, so we don't have to worry about it. And again, into the beef. You know what I mean? You want your beef to taste good or bland. Now that's what I'm talking about, marinated beef. If your hands are not dirty, you're not doing it right. Come over here. Wash our hands a little bit. And we got to go down and dirty with this thing, hot. Before we do that, we're going to slice it. We're going to go against the grain is going like this, see? You're going to go against the grain. Sure you cut it all the way through. Oh, hold on. Take a little bit of olive oil. It should be hot. Better be hot. The pan, that is. And take your steak, put it right in there. That's what I'm talking about. And if you like your steak like I like mine, you're going to shut it off immediately. You don't want to overcook it. You want the bottom to get really cooked. Turn the top. Let that marinate. Let all that wonderful stuff that we put up in there get in there. Good. Just kind of leave it sitting over there. Take your beef. Put that over there. Take your knife. Clean it. Turn your cutting board over. We're ready to go. So while our beef is cooking, we're going to start with the first omelet. What's the first thing we got to do when we're cooking omelets? Got to crack those eggs. Now I'm going to show you a way to crack eggs, because maybe everybody thought the right way to crack an egg was to take your egg and crack it on the side, but it's not. Flat surface. You run the risk of getting an eggshell in there like that. So let's go. Okay? Take the other one. And again, you do this all day long. You practice. I've always found get it as cracked as you can, almost as it's coming off on the table, and it's easy to open up. Just like so. We're going to do the whole thing here just so you can see it in slow motion. All right. Good. We got two more. Perfect. Perfect. Voila. Simple. All right. Now when it comes to beating, most people will think, hey, let me use like a whisk or something like that. You can, but a fork is better. And what you want to do with the fork, I always like to salt the eggs just a little bit before I whisk them. And I always like to put just a little bit of herbs in there too. I like to follow it just to make sure. And that's it. Just like this. You could go and get Grandma's automatic beater like this if you'd like. We're not getting into that. And again, it's air. It's the sharpness from the ends of the fork getting in there. That's why I like to put the greens in there. I want to make sure that I'm all... All right, let's start with the first omelet. Before we do that, let's turn over our steak. Woo! That's what I'm talking about. I don't want my steak overcooked. Get all these wonderful herbs in there. Excellent. Looking good. All right, we're going to start with our first pan, non-stick pan. Make sure it's nice and clean, right? Nice and hot. If you're ever in the diners in New York City, they have those griddles ready to go. They're doing pancakes, all this stuff. You got the olive oil going down in there. This is what's called a frittata. What is a frittata? Well, it's just a bunch of things Grandma put in there, put it in the oven, the whole thing in the oven like that, and it cooked. Worked out real well. Anytime you always went over my grandmother's house, anytime during the day, there was a frittata in the afternoon on the stove, just waiting for somebody to come over. It was like, I'm sure all the grandmothers out there say, oh, when I'm old, I hope all my grandkids just be able to cook good and have food there. I'm telling you, you always have a line of people out the door. There's always food. All right, so now we got that hot. We're just going to put some ingredients in here. We got some onions. We got some garlic. We got some tomatoes. We're going all the way down in there. We got some herbs. We're going to take some zucchini right here. And I'm just going to put the outside of the skin only. If you're doing anything with this, you're wrong, because there's really not much you can do. And we just want to go as thin and small as we can. Make sure there's no stickers. All right, put it right in there. Now, do we salt it? Give it a little salt if you want, but don't forget, I put salt in the eggs. Now we're going to take this, get it nice and brown and ready. You smell all that stuff coming. You smell the garlic. This garlic was actually roasted beforehand. Something I'm going to do with my omelet that you may have not done before in the past, and that's to put a little bit of tofu in that baby. Tofu, right? Right here, tofu. You can find tofu anywhere. What we're going to do is just cut a couple of punks in there and really taste good in the omelet. It's got a great consistency. You know, the omelet is sort of the same consistency as the tofu. You know, I'm not sure I would be putting, you know, something really chewy in there. You want the consistency to be the same throughout. That's a sign of good cooking. Our steaks are looking good. Got our tofu omelet. Now we're ready to go. We're going to hit this baby on high. All right, now we're going to switch. I think I'm just going to make a smaller omelet today. We're going to switch this out to a smaller pan. And we're going to make our second omelet. But our frittata is just about ready to go with the eggs. So now we add our eggs. You know, the key to making a good frittata is just to cover all your ingredients up on top. Now, while we've had everything covered, what we're going to do is add a little bit of fresh mozzarella. Not much. Oh, if you could add a lot if you like. I'm just going to add a little bit. And right over the top, just like that. Ooh. Forget it. And this whole thing goes in the oven, so make sure you're using a pan that can go inside the oven. Kind of stay there. So you're going to forget about it for a little while. This recipe is really popular. I've had this in Texas. I went to Texas. They served me an omelet with all sorts of hot stuff in there. I was like gasping for air and water. But that's how they eat down there, and I love it. So what we're going to do is add a little bit of scallions first. Then we're going to add a little bit of red pepper. I'll throw a little tomato in there too. Now, what's interesting is after this starts to just cook a little bit, we'll give this a second, put a little salt in there. You could have your choice of putting your jalapenos in the beginning or the end. I'm just going to put one in the beginning. Make sure you leave the seeds in. And again, if you want it hotter, you could add this whole thing. I'm just going to add just a little bit. Now, what we're going to do with this is take a little bit of chipotle pepper and a little bit of tomatillo sauce. And we're going to try to reduce as much liquid as we can before putting the eggs in it. As you can smell it already, it's enough to make you cough. It's getting hot, but this is how they like it. All right. Good. We got our excess liquid sort of evaporating. As you can see, we got thick bubbles around the side here. We're going to grab a plate, get ready to go with this baby. Be a lot of plate action. Take our steak away. Take our other steak. Bring that over here. And that's looking really good. What we're going to do is get our plate ready, slicing our beef. Good. Nice rare beef we'll put right here. Leave it going, getting ready for our omelet, which will be coming out shortly. All right, now we're ready to add the eggs. All right. Using a small pan, you don't want to add too much than what you need. Now, the key to making a good omelet is to kind of be very even on where you're rotating. So you want to take a little bit in the center there. That's not quite done at the end. Just take it over here, pull it back. That'll give you a good indication, and move it. And you have to do that because you just have too much liquid up on top that needs to be cooked before you can actually make it to the next level. If you get into a situation where you see that you have a lot of cooked egg here and this is really runny, just tilt your pan like this and move it in. Spend some time down there. Don't leave it out. And then before you know it, you'll end up with the same side. You know, non-stick pans are always great with omelets. I've made omelets on regular pans when I was working in some French restaurants. All right, now you come back to here and you just kind of take the omelet, roll it around, try to get as much of the liquid as you can out. We're going to try this center just here, right here in a little bit. Okay, now just go back around and tuck the ends in. At this point, I like to do a couple of things. I like to put a little olive oil on top because I'm actually going to flip it over. I don't fold my egg omelets. I like to keep them whole. All right, let's go around like that. And you can shake it. And if you shake it, it's kind of in one piece, but it's still looking a little wobbly. Just take everything and move it down. Now the safeguard approach to not like just flipping it in the air and watching it come down. I could do that, or I could show you an easy method. Now what you want to do is just put your plate over like that, fold it over. You get that, and you just slide the plate back in there. Now, of course, professionals don't do that, but you'll get there. And what you want to do is learn how to flip it, and then you could do all sorts of stuff to your omelet. All right, now, if you don't think it's ready for some reason, you flipped it over, and there was still some runny parts on it, and you wanted to flip it over, you can do that too. And then you take a look at it, and I prefer, to tell you the truth, it looked like this. That's what I like. And that's what the secret my grandmother used to do. She used to flip it over, but give you the side that was less cooked than the bottom. And what you do is just put that baby right down here like that. Ah! Texas. Do I hear a couple of claps? All right. Maybe you just want to get all Texas with yourself and put a little bit of salsa here. You can do that too. That's perfectly fine. Or maybe you want to just put some more heat. Put some jalapeno peppers on there. I mean, it's your kitchen. You could do what you want, right? Maybe you want to garnish it a little bit. Maybe you don't like this recipe. You want to go out to a diner. You are totally free to do any of that. All right, here you go. Put that right over there. So that's my version of what I've had in Texas. All right, so now we check out our frittata. And we open it up, and we see this baby is looking good. Woo! That was easy, but I don't think it's quite ready yet. Because I think it's almost there. Actually, you know what? We're done. We're done. Okay. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about frittata here, because you have to do the perfect frittata done right. Now, as you can see, we got the mozzarella here. Some is kind of surface to the top, but a lot of it's in the middle there. You're going to get it when you cut it in half. So make sure that you have a lot of olive oil with your frittata. Matter of fact, I'm putting just a little bit more on there. That's how I like it. I suggest you eat it the same way. All right. Now the trick is getting this baby onto the plate. Sometimes it doesn't come off nice. Now by putting a little bit of oil on the top as well, you could just do this with your spatula, what you're basically doing is saying, leave me on the stove and eat me all day long without getting hard, crusty, and disgusting. All right? So, and this is the way they do it in Italy. All right, so we got our down and dirty. Next, I'm going to show you a sunny side up with steak. We're going to take some of our steak that we have here. Take a knife. And really mince it. You could do this with a cleaver, any other knife you have. But you really want to get it as smashed as you can, as diced, I should say minced as you can. All right. Now what you want to do is take a little bit of onions. This is like a family favorite of mine. This is real simple. You got some steaks or something left over. Ah, olive oil. Woo! Okay, put all your steak on it. Get that juice on there too. That's why I like to use the cleaver. Right in there. I like it. Can't figure out which one's going to be my favorite. This is looking really good. All right, now what we're going to do is take our egg. Now, I explained to you that it's kind of sunny side up, right? Watch this. Now, with this one, I just kind of let it cook over the fire. I raise it high, and the yolk is going to be not cooked. It's going to be still running in the center, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. So let's give this a second. And again, follows the same technique as all the omelets that we were talking about. Fold it in. Watch that yolk. Don't break it. Fold it in. Get all that runny sauce on there. Okay, now just let it sit there for a second. And move your egg away from the sides of the saute pan. Press it in together. Now, what I like is a nice runny egg. If you know where the eggs came from, you're not pregnant, you don't want to risk any of that foodborne illness stuff. These eggs are organic. I trust where I got them in the farm, which is upstate. So if you're going to do this and you feel comfortable with the eggs, then you could do this. But you definitely need to let it cook just a little bit more. And I want it somewhat runny in the plate. So I'm going to grab a plate, and I'm just going to hit some cracked black pepper right there. Woo! I don't know. This is looking good. All right. Now, carefully, it's a careful thing here, because you don't want to break that egg yolk. Come on, babe, move down. All right. Here you have it. All right. Now, what you do is when you go to the table, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. All right, you spread your egg yolk over there with your toast. Now, that's good eating right there. But it ain't over yet. You know, with any breakfast, you could head over to the freezer. And it's never too easy to have ice cream. So I hope you enjoy this breakfast segment while I chow down on an ice cream cone, because I really didn't make this in the morning. So here you go. Hope you enjoyed your omelet show here. I think my choice is definitely going to be the frittata. I hope you've learned something today. If you didn't and you don't like any of the recipes, I did not invent them. Our food stylist did. So thank you for watching this wonderful episode of Taste This TV. I'm your host, Chef Joe Simonero. Remember, there are no rules in cooking. Taste this.